China, Romania, and the United States. 3 of the top 4 teams from the 2000 Olympic Games. 3 nations with an entirely new look. They met in Syracuse, New York 4 months ago in the first team competition since Sydney. That's where a relatively unknown 12-year-old from Dallas, Texas, on her final uneven bar routine, helped the United States come out on top. Now, Holly Weiss is among a young American group who have come to Hawaii to try and do it again. Romania left Sydney as the best women's team in the world. They too bring new faces to Hawaii for this rematch. As does China, although their team is anchored by 2 Olympic veterans, including Ling Jia, a double medal winner in Sydney. For the USA, this is no vacation in paradise, but another test against the best in the world. Valuable experience for the new gymnastics generation. It's been more than 15 years since the elite gymnasts of the world have come to America's 50th state. A perfect occasion, then, for the traditional Hawaiian greeting on the shores of Waikiki. And so the gymnasts from these 3 nations assemble with all their hopes and dreams for the future. But their bodies don't know anything about hopes and dreams. Just ask Crystal Uslak from Whitehall, Pennsylvania. In the opening minutes of training for the competition, she went down in pain. Her exit from the arena was less than glamorous. Headed to an X-ray in the arms of her coach, Bill Strauss, Crystal's competition was done. Even though she could smile through it, the United States needed someone to fill her spot. So the long-distance call went out to the mainland. Marie Fjordholm answered it.
Aloha. Thank you. Welcome. Let's go. Ready?
And 30 hours after receiving that traditional Hawaiian lei greeting at Honolulu International Airport, here is Marie Fjordholm wearing the red, white, and blue. Now this could go one way or the other. Nervous or not? Let's go to Beth Ruyak down on the floor.
Thanks, Al. Marie had almost 9 hours on the plane, and within a half hour of landing, she was here, changed her clothes, and was already working out. Marta Caroli said to her, "Are you ready for this?" And she said, "Yes, I am." So she will be competing in this meet in vault and in floor. And at this point, she has not yet been to the beach. And she told me a few minutes ago, Al, it's only beginning to sink in that she's actually in Hawaii.
Not yet been to the beach? That's wrong. Al Trautwig with Beth, Tim Daggett, and Elfie Schlegel. And as is so often the case, bags of ice are plentiful, but there is Crystal Uslak, who's going to watch this competition and support her teammates. She's not going anywhere. So it's the United States, China, and Romania as we start things off with the United States on vault. Here's Holly Weiss, who did well, as we mentioned briefly, at the earlier 3-nation competition in Syracuse, New York a few months ago.
And she is one of the new generation of gymnasts. Very strong crop coming up for Team USA.
One of the changes that you'll see in this competition, seeing that it is a team event, is in the women's rules today, they will only perform 1 vault.
I like it. Good job, baby.
With her coach Yevgeny Marchenko there, he says that this vault was an impossible dream for so long. She struggles in the power and strength area. This is a huge improvement for Holly right here.
8.975 for Holly Weiss. To the Chinese women now. Huang Mandan, along with Ling Jia, part of the Olympic effort in Sydney. And we should point out this is the traditional 6-5-4. You have 6 team members, 5 go on any of the 4 rotations, and the best 4 scores count.
And so that is critical, because what that means is 1 score gets dropped. You got 1 mistake, it's bad. If you have 2, that score is going to be counting.
The Chinese have actually fielded a team of 3 veterans and 3 very young juniors.
Huang Mandan, actually a silver medalist at the '99 World Championships on this event, said one of the reasons she wants to continue is she was shut out of the medals in Sydney. And that is a shame because that was a beautiful exercise, and looking at her hand there probably means that somehow she lost her grip.
A much different gymnast from last year at the team event. She arrived at that competition shortly after the Olympic Games, was totally burnt out. I was just about to say it looked like she had her form back, and what a shame to fall on what was an amazing routine.
Through the warm-ups and already in this competition, the Chinese coaches and the athletes have such a pleasant demeanor. 8-3 for Huang Mandan on the uneven bars. And it feels like every young gymnast from the island of Oahu is in the Blaisdell Center here with us today. The Romanians are on the balance beam. This is Silvia Sorescu.
Silvia is one of the junior athletes that the Romanians have brought. She was actually second at the Junior European Championships behind her teammate Sabina Kojicar, who we'll see shortly.
Had a chance to talk with some of the Romanian girls, and this one right here.
She was the chatterbox, right?
She was definitely the group spokesperson. And I said, what's your favorite thing? And she says, the beam. I like the beam.
They all like the beam. The Romanians are very good on this event.
Tim doing impersonations now, Elfie.
I think one of the reasons why they are so strong is they practice routine after routine after routine. It's not unusual to see each one of these young ladies practice at least 10 routines in a practice session.
Of course, they come from the same gym that built Nadia in Deva, that small village, and many of you probably remember the lasting images from the Olympics of the entire village showing up and holding a candle with the gymnasts.
The girls also mentioned that they were so excited about arriving in Hawaii. They imagined getting the leis as they walked off the airplane, but they said they were so tired to enjoy them. It had been about a 20-hour trip from Romania.
Very important to note, though, that their number one priority is not fun in games. I asked them what they wanted to do. First, we want to win, then shop, and then the beach.
Win, shop, beach. And the Romanian women will certainly want to do better than the men did in the men's competition involving the same 3 nations here in Honolulu. And so the United States comes to Hawaii as a team, but every once in a while, some gymnast singles themselves out because of their special abilities. Carly Patterson on the vault when we come back. This is the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup from the Blaisdell Center in Honolulu, Hawaii. And now we are updating scores. Silvia Sorescu on the balance beam for Romania, 8.75. We go to the United States now, and Ashley Miles, a 10th grader from San Antonio, Texas. And you see the 2 scores by the United States already are in the 8s.
And so that means they will keep an 8, but we should see a 9 here. Start value 9.7. Only 3 gymnasts have that high on vault. And that's going to get a big score here. Her coach, Mike Harris, there.
That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. She wake up.
Ashley said that the training camp that they had just prior to this event was absolutely grueling. The hardest part was the 2-minute wait before they announced who the team would be.
You also saw Marta Caroli there, who's overseeing the United States program, and well into the 9s, Ashley Miles, 9.375. China also will keep a score in the 8s. Heng Xia from Changsha, China, she's 17.
and she is the current national champion on uneven bars. And right off the top, she'll show us why. Not just super difficult, but incredibly beautiful gymnastics. Watch right here, that flare of the arm.
Amazing shoulder flexibility that we see from these Chinese gymnasts on the uneven bars.
If you can add to your resume that you are the top gymnast in China on uneven bars, that means that you are most definitely a contender at any meet, world, Olympic, doesn't matter.
And you know, Tim, I'm not surprised she made that routine. She was one of the only Chinese athletes in practice that performed her entire routine.
That's a little bit ironic. Since we've been here, we haven't seen anything from the Chinese team on bars. A lot of beam, a lot of floor, but no bar routine. She did have that struggle at the end on her dismount, but look at how beautiful. She flares the arm out to the side, and then a sky-high front somersault.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
her routine just looks so elegant.
And the score on the uneven bars, 9.075, the best Chinese score registered so far. Now back to the Romanians, Carmen Ionescu. Hey, Tim, remember when you were winning that gold medal in L.A.?
That was a long time ago, Al.
Well, you know, it's so long ago, Elfie, that Carmen would not even be born for more than a year after that gold medal.
Oh, I love it.
That's a really interesting point, Dale.
Carmen is actually one of few athletes in this competition who has a start value out of a 10.0 on this routine, and that's pretty exciting, seeing that it's still so early in the season.
Flip-flop full there, and she makes it look like it's nothing at all.
I remember last year in Syracuse for the team competition, the Romanians showed up with this brand new junior team, and 5 out of the 6 athletes were performing full twists on the balance beam. That's exactly what the trend is going to be on this event.
And it's so neat, the Romanians pass down from generation to generation, the little cheering and coaching from the sidelines for each other.
And this is their next generation, their top group of athletes. They did expect to bring Andreea Radacan and Izarescu, both of them, however, injured, but add those two to this team, and that's who I think you'll see at the World Championships and then down the road in Athens.
This routine is just packed with difficulty. She's showing such a variety. One of the things that's new in the code is the judges are looking for some artistry, both on the balance beam and the floor exercise.
Triple full.
She's still young and has time to work on that component.
The Romanians always get the job done, the technical gymnastics, the big skills, but sometimes they lack the artistry, and they're going to have to improve in that area.
Every once in a while, a gymnast comes along that seems to have the entire package, the abilities, the look, the smile, a different way of carrying themselves. A lot of people are saying that about Carly Patterson, a 7th grader from Dallas, Texas, who sounds like she's from Louisiana because she is.
Best quality, quick and powerful, says her coach.
Not to mention extremely talented.
Wow, she drilled that right between the lines.
And composed, too.
I think that's one of the most amazing things that we've witnessed so far in the practice, and if she can translate that into competition setting, she's going to go a long way.
And I tell you, this is really her coming out party right here. Maybe the biggest event she's ever been in her life, and her first piece of gymnastics she does as well as she possibly can. And the thing that's so impressive, bam, sticks that landing. You're a little tentative first time out. Usually you're careful, you take a little step.
She was cat-like.
All right, she sticks the landing and gets a 9.2, and we'll be talking about these scores as the day goes on. It's becoming near impossible to register a 10 right now in the world of gymnastics, as they have changed the score values after the Olympic Games. Carmen Ionescu gets a balance beam score of 9.225. The Chinese women have the unique component of Olympic experience. Veteran Ling Jia, like a big sister to the others. She'll be up next. In Honolulu, Hawaii, China's Ling Jia is surrounded by women who have the same dream that she had just a few years ago. Her dream did come true in Sydney, Australia. In China, success in gymnastics is a journey that begins early in life. Children as young as 4 move away from home and parents to live and train at sports schools, learning not only gymnastic skills, but to bring honor to their country with their talent. Ling Jia was one of those young girls. Her journey took her to Sydney and the Olympic Games, where honor was tinged with disappointment.
I will always remember taking a step on my Dismount during the uneven ball final. If I didn't, maybe I could have won gold. But I am so proud that we were able to win the bronze as a team.
The Chinese women's team surprised many by winning the bronze medal, but the Chinese men took gold, and that brought mixed feelings as well.
At first, I was very happy because the men's team represented China so well. But at the same time, I was a bit jealous.
That jealousy is part of what now keeps 18-year-old Ling Jia working so hard.
I want to keep training so that I can go to the 2004 Olympics in Athens and win a gold medal.
And guys, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised to hear someone say they're jealous of someone who won a gold medal. Yet the maturity to recognize that emotion and be willing to share it is even more surprising than that.
Well, she was a legitimate contender, so close, winning the silver on bars. She was a gold medalist a year before in China on balance beam. She was a legitimate shot to win 2 gold medals in Sydney, Australia. Neither of it happened. But beautiful extended bar work.
And that's something that's very consistent with all the Chinese athletes, but she struggled a little bit here in Hawaii, not having consistent practices. In fact, we've never really seen a full bar set from her.
And this is a disaster now. Just doesn't look to be in the same condition that she needs to. Her routine is so difficult, so long and hard.
And remember that this is still very early in the season. The first year after the Olympic Games, we've got a brand new set of rules. Everyone has to adjust, and it's just really going to take a lot of time.
The coaches have told us the athletes are now celebrities in China. Took a 3-month break from competition. Beautiful gymnastics work, very extended, but just not in the condition, a little bit behind on that element and not able to recover.
And it really hurts when one of your team leaders goes out there and has a struggle like that, gets a score like an 8-1-2-5, and the reality sets in that the Chinese are going to have to keep a couple of low scores. They're in trouble. To the Romanians on balance beam, where they have historically been great.
Sabina is the 2000 Junior European champion. She is their top athlete here at this competition.
You'll see a lot of that mount, but you'll also see a lot of this over the next 4 years. Into a full twisting somersault, 2 elements.
And one thing that has not changed in the rules is that is still a 5/10 deduction for a fall.
Elfie, how many times did we see her do that perfectly since we've been here?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, the Romanians take great advantage of their practice time. Very different from the men's practice, I might add. They're constantly doing routine after routine.
Now, guys, we've sort of said the rules are different, they're changed, they're harder. What exactly has been done?
Well, one of the major changes is they've added this component called artistry. There are 3/10 of a point that are up for grabs, and if you aren't elegant, if you're not beautiful, do something a little bit different, then you're not going to get those 10ths of a point. The big question is, are the judges actually going to apply that rule, especially to teams like Romania, who are great gymnasts, but maybe sometimes don't have that quality?
Yeah, that's exactly true, because they've often been criticized for not having that component in any of their routines. So if the judges stick to their guns and do as the code of points says they should, then many of these routines will not get that extra bonus point.
And now we go across the floor here at the Blaisdell Center to American Marie Fjordholm, who probably would have been, I don't know, at the mall or something in Houston, Texas today. Instead, here she is in the midst of competition due to the injury to Crystal Uslak, who remains here to support her team, still icing up.
And it was remarkable, Al. She literally got off the plane, got into a car, drove to the arena.
She was already dressed in her gym suit.
And started running around instantly.
She said a quick hello to Marta Caroli, and off she went to practice. And she came and did exactly what this team needed her for.
Now, Elfie, what about one vault instead of two?
Well, in the women's team competition on day one, they're now performing just one vault. In the other days of competition, it will still be 2 vaults.
And this vault actually helps Team USA quite a bit. Very high start value, 9.7. She's one of the better vaulters that the USA has, so this replacement actually a bump up for Team USA.
So that's a job well done for the pinch hitter of the American team. Marie Fjordholm gets a 9.225. Meanwhile, the struggle for the Romanians will include scores in the 8s. Sabina Kojakar, an 8.425. So their problems and those early on of the Chinese have allowed the United States to grab control here in the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup. The standings include a 1.35 lead over Romania and 2 points over China. The United States grabbing the lead, and a good job of filling in by Marie Fjordholm. Meanwhile, we're enjoying the gymnastics, trying to figure out who's going to be a star 3 years down the road in Athens. Now, this is an inexact science, but a fun one to participate in. Tim Daggett, who's caught your eye?
Carly Patterson. I mean, she has a quiet confidence, a calmness about her beyond her years and her experience. She is so determined, and she really has all the goods. But to be fair, this entire group of USA athletes, the most talent I've ever seen, actually, I can't even tell you how long.
Well, good news for Team USA. Let's turn to someone who's been very responsible with her sunscreen. Elfie, who's caught your international eye?
Well, when you look at the Romanian team, let's not forget that they are the Olympic gold medalists, but this particular team is very young. They're all juniors in experience, but the one name is Sabina Kojakar. She is the leader. However, you wouldn't have known that from her balance beam routine. If you ask her if she feels like she's the leader, she'll very shyly look at you and say, "Oh no, I don't think so. We're all on the same level."
All right, the United States has a formidable lead. One rotation done, the second coming up in a moment from Honolulu, Hawaii. Back in Honolulu at the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup. Can't learn to win together too early, and the United States did in Syracuse a few months ago, and they're trying to do that again here in Hawaii. Ashley Miles from San Antonio, Texas. Of all the gymnasts here, she is the biggest, the most muscular.
And being the first athlete up, she really has to set the pace for the entire team. This is a tough job.
Solid routine.
Yeah, she basically just did what she was asked to do, hit her routine.
A very chatty American team. They sound like the Romanians a little bit.
2 for 2. Tighter on the cable.
Marta Caroli, who is the national team coordinator for the women's team, said that she's very focused on this group of young athletes. She's actually doing a lot more coaching than she did in the past year. She said the team is very much at the beginning stages, and they're really far from being perfect.
Anytime you're flipping forward, it's a blind landing. Handles that quite well.
8.9 for Ashley Miles. The United States into the second rotation with a very big lead. The Romanians were in second place, but 1.3 is a lot. They've got to start this comeback now if they want to create one. Andrea Olmeanu.
She was actually the alternate for the 2000 Olympic team for the Romanians, and also the 1999, the head of delegation said, the eternal alternate here.
Well, one thing that is very obvious with the Romanians is they can certainly tumble. And just like we mentioned on the balance beam, that artistic component of the routines is something that they're going to have to work on.
So does she get those 3/10, Alf?
That's a subjective call by the judges.
Yeah, I don't give them, that's for sure. Not all three of them, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, we have Ashleys everywhere for the United States. This is Ashley Kelly from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Her coach, Christy Kraft, said that she went to the training camp, had a great competition, and then towards the end got very ill and has just started to recover, but it really made things a lot more difficult for her.
One thing that she has inside of her is a competitive spirit. She is such a fighter. We saw that at the American Cup earlier this year.
Now, Tim, a few moments ago, you spoke about the depth of this American team, and you compared it to historically what you've seen. How about giving me a little bit more on that?
Well, single generation, this is the best group that I've ever seen for the USA. They have not just the group that's here, but a whole bunch of tiny little juniors who are tremendous. Watch this dismount, though. Double layout.
That's her coach, Christy Kraft.
Normal, Ashley. Normal. Good job, honey.
There's Marta in the background.
Only normal. Good job. Good. That was good. Okay. Hey.
She has been normally very close to the bar on her dismount. Did a couple of them that were a little bit scary. This one a little close as well. You see, there's an extra mat that they are allowed to land on. And she actually is so close, she lands just barely on it and then hops back to the bar. That's close.
And again, this new code of points is making it very difficult for these gymnasts to score. 8.75 for Ashley Kelly of the United States. Meanwhile, Ulmeanu of Romania doesn't get the 3/10 on floor, but does score in the nines. That'll help tighten things up here. Meanwhile, we're following every move of Carly Patterson, and as we do that at the Blaisdell Center, it's one thing. As we do it elsewhere in Honolulu, it's totally another. The Outrigger Reef Hotel gave her the total Hawaiian experience. One of the reasons we admire the Olympic dream so much is that it's so difficult to achieve. But right now, Carly Patterson looks like the real deal.
Regular day for me is I go to gym from 8 to about 12. Then we get school time from 12 to 4. And then we work out from 4 to like 7:30. It's hard getting up every day and doing the same thing, but that's what you have to do if you want to be a good gymnast.
Carly has a lot of good qualities, and she has a talent. talent in gymnastics. A lot of things comes up for her pretty easy.
The beam is kind of the easiest for me, and I don't know, I can kind of master skills pretty quickly on it.
She has a lot of potential on the beam, and I think if she put all together and make it, she can score very high on the beam.
One of her strengths is a dismount that no one else in the world is doing.
It's pretty hard, but it's a really cool dismount, I think.
Only 13, Carly is just beginning to learn what it takes at the elite gymnastic level.
I think for Carly, this competition will be a very good experience. Number one, it's a first big senior event for her. I believe that's gonna give her opportunity to understand what is gymnastics all about.
Carly's present is pretty cool, but she has a checklist for the future.
I want to make it to the 2003 Worlds, and my really long-term goal is for the 2004 Olympics, hopefully.
I believe she can be one of the top gymnasts in the world in 2003, 2004. I believe in that.
That'd be really cool, because it's like been my dream since I started gymnastics.
And you have to be so very careful with these precious dreams. The road from here to Athens is 1,000,000 miles long, and it's loaded with potholes.
But this is one young lady, as we have said, who seems to have just about everything, and maybe the most important thing going for her is how unaffected, how calm.
Now, to me, she looks like she's doing everything in slow motion, right?
Well, she takes her time out. She doesn't rush, and I have to tell you, I don't know if that can be taught.
And that is one of the keys, taking one element at a time, just like she needs to do on this dismount. Not as difficult as the one we'll see her do on the balance beam, but a stuck landing.
All right, so everybody's all excited. She sticks the landing, but we've got this new code of points, and everybody's about to be confused, aren't they?
Yeah, she's going to get an 8 because this routine, it's not ready yet. She has to add some things. It's only going to start probably in the 9-4 area, so I don't think we'll even see a 9.
Very good.
But this is not the event where she is going to shine. She's powerful on vaulting. She's tremendous on beam. If there's a weakness, Yevgeny says it comes on the bars, and he says that is not where they plan on focusing. They're going to focus on her strengths.
Carly has actually only been working with Evgeny for 6 months.
There you go, 8875. Murmurs here at Blaisdell Center. What do they mean, 8875? Sylvia Sorescu, 875 on beam. Now the Romanians have a little something cooking here now in terms of scoring momentum. Obviously, the musical choice was to be Throwback.
Nice combination tumbling pass coming up here. A little too long in that corner, though.
So, Elfie, where are they getting hurt? It's just not artsy? It doesn't have that extra flair to it?
Well, she actually has one of the highest start values of all her teammates, but there's just no artistic flair. There's nothing creative, in my opinion, in the routine. She's just simply going through the motions.
And a lot of standing around. But she can tumble throughout the entire exercise. This a very nice combination run. She'll do 2.5 twists and a backflip, then rebound forward, beautiful laid out somersault.
She is the 2000 European Junior Champion on floor.
Big number, highest we've seen so far today, 9-4. That will help the Romanians out a lot. Now, the question for the United States is not whether they are going to keep scores in the 8s. They are. It's just a question of how low will the lowest score that they have to keep will be. Here's Taryn Humphrey from Blue Springs, Missouri. 5 athletes in each rotation. You keep the 4 best scores.
She has some credentials already, second in the junior division at last year's U.S. National Championships.
She was actually part of the team last year in Syracuse, part of the team competition.
Here comes her release combination. She'll do a stalter with a full turn right here.
Oh.
And that's a long way down.
And a huge door opens up for the Romanians. What's up with the gloves?
That's her coach, Al Fong, and actually wearing the gloves and also checking the time. Have to remount the apparatus.
30 seconds. Actually, that's not much of a surprise. Taryn was having a lot of difficulty in practice with her release skill.
It's pretty amazing. She goes splat face first on the mat and then just gets right back up to finish it. But a big door opens up for Romania.
Yeah, that means that USA has another 8 for sure.
But one thing you do like to see, especially from a young athlete such as Taryn, is she's very aggressive in this routine. There was no question that she rode that release skill sky high, just fingertip control, and couldn't hang on.
Didn't even knock the breath out of her. But her score could knock the United States down, that's for certain. She gets an 8.25. And now we just have to wait and see how the Chinese and the Romanians take advantage of this. Right now, the mission for the Chinese is lose that 7-3. Make sure that they don't have to keep that.
And they could do that and a lot more with this young lady.
Kang Jing.
Like we've said, there is a mixture of youth and experience on this team, and she is fantastic. A lot of things that you're looking for on the balance beam are making sure that the elements are connected very tightly, no pauses in between.
Nice split positions like we just saw in that handstand.
And finishing jumps like that all the way around, not kind of cheating it a little bit.
Yeah, she's one of the few athletes that has been able to complete her jumps, leaving no question to the judges at all.
Just an unreal amount of variety in this exercise. Beautiful tumbling run right here.
This is the secret to balance beam, is trying to make it look so easy, as if you were just practicing this on the floor.
Another combination. She has the whole package. She's got the huge gymnastics elements.
And great presence up on the balance beam. Every element is finished. She has great presentation, her upper body. She has the confidence and a style all of her own.
Look at the legs straight.
That's a great exercise.
Beautiful.
Big score.
Barely taller than the beam itself.
I tell you, that is unbelievable exercise for so early. You're looking at some of the top gymnasts in the world, USA, Romania, China, and most of the countries are struggling, especially on an event like balance beam. She has got the whole package already. That's beautiful.
Yeah, very exciting. She exudes such confidence, especially in her tumbling elements. No question on the split elements in her routine.
You see the head going back there like that,
taking a huge risk.
Losing sight of the beam. Look at the extended legs, perfect form, toes pointed in the air.
That was probably the only mistake, was that very small step right there.
Oh, she is special. Kang Jing, 9.625. That's a home run in this sport right now. That feels like a perfect 10. So, after the baubles of the United States, China says, hey, we want to get back into this thing. What do the Romanians do? We'll see right now. They could lose that 8.95 and get everybody else in the nines. This event changes.
Carmen does a tumbling pass in her opening run that nobody else, that Tim or I have seen in the world to date. She actually performed this last year in Syracuse, and both of us looked at each other and said, did she just do what we thought she did?
3.5 twists. Wow. That is so much to get done with one salto. Amazing.
We may just see a quad in this sport, in this quadrennium.
Well, she certainly capitalizes on her strength. She can twist, and there's a lot of it going on in her routines.
The Romanians have certainly picked out some old-time European music, haven't they?
This is big-time gymnastics right here. This element alone gives her 3/10 back in her routine. It's called a Super E element, 3.5 twists.
Ionescu gets a 9.075 for her team, and depending on whether the United States has to keep Taryn Humphrey's score, we could have a leadership change here. Meanwhile, Kang Jiang of China is a lot better than cute. She's got the highest score so far today. Sydney 2000. The U.S. Women's Olympic team finishes a disappointing 4th. For team members Jamie Dancher, Kristen Maloney, and Elise Ray, Olympic careers ended without a medal, but gymnastics careers have not. Reigning national champion Elise Ray is currently a freshman at the University of Michigan, performing her gymnastics now with a Michigan logo on her cheek. And Dancher and Maloney are helping the UCLA Bruins to the #1 ranking in college gymnastics. On campus in California, these two reflected back on Olympic memories.
Walking in the arena the second day of competition of the team finals, knowing it was our last meet, and working as a team and working towards a team goal instead of an individual.
When I look back on my experience in Sydney, I'm just really glad I made the team and got to experience my whole Olympic dream.
And so new dreams are born in this group. And early pressure on Holly Weiss here. The United States wants to make sure that the Taryn Humphrey score of 8.25 is dropped. For that to happen, Holly Weiss has to do better than that. And of course, the United States would love to see something in the 9s, too.
And they should expect something in the 9s from this athlete, Holly Weiss. Remember last year at the team event in Syracuse, she clinched the win for the Americans with an amazing bar routine, ended it with a perfectly stuck dismount.
Beautiful positions throughout the exercise. This is one of her strongest events. Nice line, open shoulder angles. A little bit of a struggle on that cast. Dismount double front. And again a stick. Well, that's definitely going to help Al.
Good fight, good fight. Just get to bottom up, right? Молодец, молодец.
Tremendous flexibility in this athlete. Her coach Evgeny says that that's one of her best qualities. Little bit off balance here and there in the exercise, and a little bit of form here and there. The legs come apart. Each time you do that, you lose 1/10 of a point, but nice exercise.
Yeah, Holly Weiss squeezes out a 9.05, so she delivers. They do not have to keep Taryn Humphries' 8.25. So the USA looks like they'll be able to stay in front as we go to Ling Jia.
Only 2 of the Chinese gymnasts have start values on this event out of a 10.0. Ling Jia is one of those athletes. This is a very good exercise.
Well, she needs one. As one of the leaders of the team, remember how disappointed she was with the 8.125 right out of the blocks.
Little bit off balance there, that knee bends. Highlight of the exercise coming up right here in combination.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the prettiest combinations. She was one of the first athletes to perform that particular move in combination a couple of years ago. Chinese are going to see another good score.
She's going to bend way down for that one.
This is one of the elements that they've resurrected. It was a move that was popular back in the 70s, and they've brought it back with a greater value, which has made a lot of gymnasts happy. But that combination right there, extremely difficult. She changes direction, but it's beautifully performed.
Call that skill in a noti, named after the great Hungarian gymnast.
This is a huge score for Ling Jia, 9.5. So China is getting it done on the balance beam. Over on the floor, the Romanians need a 9.3 from Sabina Kojakar to tie the United States. After an 8.425 on beam, how possible is a 9.3 for her, Elfie?
Actually, it's very possible. She has quite a high start value planned. But again, as we've been seeing all day long, the judges have been very strict in the rules.
And I have to tell you guys, I just don't get it. Perfect 10s. are what put this sport on the map back in 1976. And it seems as though the entire mission of gymnastics now is to prevent anyone from getting a perfect 10.
Well, they certainly don't want them in the first year of an Olympic cycle. Their goal is to have the best athletes at the end of the quadrennium when the Olympic Games rolls around, have them challenging to come close to a 10.
But we didn't see that in Sydney, Tim.
No, I agree. So far, so good, except for that second tumbling pass. A little bit, foot was dangerously close to going out of bounds. Big dismount plan, whip to a triple full.
Four very difficult tumbling passes in this routine, and right there at the end just struggled a little bit to complete the triple.
Yeah, I wouldn't give her that one.
Tough judging here in Hawaii. She needs a 9-3 to tie the United States. She might want to just imagine being on a beach. Being on a beach. And getting a 9-3. It's a good thought. Al Trautwig, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, Beth Ruyak back in Honolulu, Hawaii. And Sabina Kojikar has not done it. She stepped out of bounds, missed an element. She gets a 9.1. So Romania trails the United States by a very doable 0.2. And the Americans have 3 of the top 6 spots. We stay with the Romanians now as they move to the vault in this, the third of 4 rotations. And certainly now, I mean, the competitive spirits have got to be flowing.
You know, they're so small, they're so tiny and light that they really can't seem to get the power out of the board. The first thing they did, they all walked into the arena during training and they walked over to the vaulting board and started jumping up and down on it, and their arms were
You could just see
flying
the facial
about,
expressions. Yikes,
you could
this
see
is
they
gonna
were
be
mad,
trouble.
and the coaches said, "Get away from that, it'll be fine."
Well, this vault, for instance, is only valued out of a 9.4. That's very low for a Romanian gymnast to perform. Just a simple Yurchenko full twist.
And she has a little bit of a pike down, which will cost her, and also that hop.
8-4 and change. Now we go to Ashley Kelly. The United States getting from Ashley Miles an 8.6 already.
Difficult mount to round off onto the board, and then very nice back laid out somersault. Ashley actually made the national team right after the Olympic Games, paid her own way to the training camp, and just not enough rotation on that last backflip to keep it on the beam.
There's an example of not completing a jump, and it's an area where the judges are going to really crack down. They want to see complete rotations.
Remember, the lead was only 0.2. Bobble here, a little bobble there, they all add up.
Nice combination right there. They've brought back that aerial front walkover. It was an element that was really popular back in the 70s.
Ashley's actually capable of doing very difficult dismount, 2.5 twists. Actually opts for just a double full.
you know what? You just didn't stand up out of the back handspring. It's okay. Yeah, it was, but you can't panic. You know, don't panic. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Just do your normal thing. You know? You were just you got a little bit uptight after the mount. Should have stopped and gotten in control after the mount and then go on with the rest of it, okay? That's okay. Don't be too disturbed, you know?
Back to the Romanians on the vault.
Once again, the only senior on this team, the alternate for 2000.
And is there anything worse than being the Olympic alternate?
Oh, it was terrible for her as well. Every day in training, the entire Romanian team, all 6 athletes, they were all together, and she was in the gym the entire time.
And they've all got their Olympic stuff, you know, all the freebie things that they get.
Yeah, but she was not with them. She was like ostracized from this group, working out by herself.
She was actually capable of doing a much more difficult vault, this one that she chose. Again, to give you an idea of the new code and the more difficult rules, the maximum value was a 9.6 on that one.
She gets a 9.025. We go back to Ashley Kelly. She gets an 8.725. So the pressure is really building now in the United States. And there's no way of knowing how aware they are, but they are aware that it's falling apart a little bit here. Taryn Humphrey had to be relieved when the United States didn't have to keep her 8.25 on the bar, so now she wants to follow that up with a number that's a lot better than that.
She's actually capable of quite a bit on this event, and
Watch
this is a stunning mount. That's very hard.
Very hard.
2.5 rotations there.
Another difficult element, combination run here.
She actually took out her layout. She was having some problems in practice, was supposed to perform a layout element at the end of that series.
Something a little different right here. Kind of a combination of a front flip and an aerial.
A couple of steps at the end. She doesn't look satisfied or happy at all.
Yeah, she actually, Al, took out a couple of elements in a routine, which, as a result, is going to lower that start value. This is a great mount. It's one of the moves that has been brought back. It's an older element that was done back in the 70s, and she does it with 2.5 spins. It's extremely difficult to be in that position.
Why is there so much retro stuff going on? You've said the word 70s about 4 times today.
That was back when I competed.
Way back in the early 70s.
Hey.
8.95, Taryn Humphrey. USA numbers down, Romania's are up. In the 4 years prior to this one, in the same event, the Romanians and the United States have split. Each of them has won twice. Now we wonder whether the Romanians and Sylvia Stroescu will be on the vault for them, can keep the pressure on the United States. The U.S. had a 1.3 lead at the end of one rotation, but now Romania is within striking distance.
And a much more difficult vault than we've seen so far.
Yurchenko, 1.5 twists.
You know, it's got to be hard if when you step to the beginning of the runway and you really don't believe in the equipment, which is what the Romanians don't, to give it your best shot. Now the pressure on the United States and Holly Weiss, and the U.S. could really use a score in the 9s here.
She has a very nice exercise, a lot of variety. Some very difficult elements.
And shows off her flexibility.
Nice combination here with a leap and then an acrobatic. That's too bad. And it's nowhere near all over for her.
Yeah, this is a big skill right here.
Better get her composure back.
This is one of the trends that we're seeing in women's gymnastics on this event, the full twist.
And right away, the pressure, may not be on Holly Weiss right here. She just wants to get through it. But Carly Patterson is still to come for the United States. And right now she knows she's got to deliver.
Yeah, Holly already has a point off in mandatory deductions. And she also doesn't get the same reward bonus-wise because she's missing these elements. So this is going to be a very low score. The U.S. will hopefully drop this score.
Dismount that will take the entire length of the beam. It's a tough exercise.
Yeah, you take the risk, you do the things that are capable of bringing in the big scores like that routine is. Sometimes it's just not quite there.
We have to remind ourselves that part of taking the risks of some of these more difficult elements is struggling through the aches and pains of falls early on in this year. But remember, these athletes are working towards the World Championships in 2003.
And yet there is a World Championships this year. Now, if the United States has to count that 8.025, then the Romanians will take the lead based on Stroescu's vault score of 8.825. So for now, the United States has given it back, but Carly Patterson still to come. Holly Weiss, obviously troubled by that number and what happened, the two falls. And there you see what the Romanians have done on the vault. They want to lose the 8.475 of Barak. Here's Sabina Kojakar.
And they should do that quite easily. She does a very difficult vault. Double twisting laid out Yurchenko, starts from a 9.8. Really the only Romanian in this group that's been able to deal with vaulting since we've been here.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Romania.
Yeah, she had a little extra to give in this competition, let me tell you, because it didn't quite look the same in the practice the other day. Just to give you an idea of just how difficult this vault is, last year at the Olympic Games, the start value was 9.9. They've devalued it by 1/10.
And Kojakar gets a 9.05. Still another number in the nines for Romania. That will allow them to lose that 8.475 that we mentioned. And the United States looking for their first 9 here on balance beam. Carly Patterson, the Cajun sensation.
Had a chance to talk to Carly just before the competition, and she said she felt that her greatest quality was her consistency, which you'll certainly see on the balance beam, but she also said that she hoped that the audience, she goes, I hope they should do like me.
Well, they'll like this right here. Super difficult in a straight body position.
Beam is definitely her event. It's her favorite for obvious reasons. But she works with a calmness and a maturity that you don't typically see at an athlete of this age. And I just hope that she can maintain that and just hang on to that coolness that she has up there.
And the dismount, as we alluded to early. Very difficult. I've never seen anybody perform this. In sequence, an Arabian double front. Wow.
That's amazing. That's an element that you see the women perform on floor exercise. And when I told her that, you know, I really think you're the only one in the world that can do that move, she said, oh, cool.
It's just so remarkable. She tumbles. We say it a lot, but this young lady really tumbles like she's on the floor on this dismount. The entire length of the beam.
No room for error. She has to be perfectly aligned with the beam.
And
Look
it's
at
so
that.
difficult because you're twisting as you're leaving the beam. And if you do that too early, then you're off for sure. And it can spell disaster, but that was anything but.
And the biggest number we've seen today, a 9.75. That is huge for her team because they do not have to keep Holly Weiss's score. The United States retakes the lead here at the end of the third rotation. It's the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup at the Blaisdell Center in Honolulu. The United States jumped out to a huge lead early. On came Romania. They stumbled a bit. China's had a rough start and has never really recovered. The United States has just gotten a huge routine from Carly Patterson. And now we go back to the Chinese Wang Mandan, one of the two from the 2000 Olympic team.
Handspring pike front somersault here.
And a relatively simple vault.
So if you're watching at home and you're waiting for the score, it won't even be in the nines, and relatively, I don't know if there were too many errors at all in this entire vault. It just doesn't have the difficulty.
I have to tell you guys a really quick, cute story about the Chinese. I asked them what they wanted to try when they were here in Hawaii, and they kept saying, apple pine, apple pine. And what they meant was pineapple.
Over to the bars uneven. We go.
Very nice, Tim Deckard. Once every 3 or 4 years, he gets one in.
He comes through.
Andrea Olmeanu.
Actually, Andrea was having some fun with some of the youngsters in the audience, too, just before the competition. She actually went up to two very young gymnasts to ask for their picture. Typically, you'll get them coming up to these athletes, asking them for autographs.
This is the final rotation. Last chance for Romania. For a moment, they had the lead. They had a chance to tie.
Yeah, you're not going to see a super strong score here. One of the reasons being that she had a lot of difficulty hitting her handstands, and that's one of the areas that the judges are really getting picky on.
Also the dismount, the legs come apart a little bit in the air. And of course the step on the landing, but you notice the form like that, the judges see that as well.
So on the bars uneven, Olmeanu gets an 8.725. The United States in this last rotation is on the floor. Holly Weiss, remember last time we saw her, she was so disappointed.
This young lady's been working on a new first tumbling pass, which they've actually upgraded in the code of points, but what you'll see is a nice blend here of tumbling, but she has great expression, great artistry. She should get full credit for that.
She did some pretty wild stuff in there. You know, we let a lot of these moves go by because we're so used to seeing them, but some of the stuff, the backward bends, the flexibility, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, she really did a great interpretation of the music, but like her coach Evgeny said, that we still need to work on the power side of things, the tumbling.
That's what we want.
Good, good effort. Very nice.
I like it.
Very
You
nice.
can
Your
make
doubling
strong.
was high.
Good effort. Good effort. Yeah. Good effort. You're trying to put your stuff together the way you learn.
Holly Weiss gets an 8.9 for her floor exercise. Very enthusiastic gymnasts in the crowd here. It's like all the clubs from Honolulu and the entire island of Oahu have come out here to see this, and we're in the final rotation. The United States still leads.
You hear the Romanian teammates willing Straescu through this exercise.
And they do this on absolutely every routine.
And what they're doing is pretty much what the coaches do when they're in training, right? Aren't they reinforcing all the little things to get through the routine?
Well, a lot of it is just go. You can do it. Come on, push, push, keep going.
Actually, Sylvia had a strong set. She showed a little bit more diversity than I've seen in some of these routines.
Holly Weiss, 8.9 for the United States on floor. Taryn Humphrey has spent the day in the 8s, and she's not alone.
Yesterday in training, she did no tumbling. Talked to her coach, Al Fong. He said she's just exhausted. She needed the break. Says today she feels 100% better.
Tough first tumbling pass for her. Full in.
Not enough juice to get that one around, though. Some of the coaches have quietly criticized, saying that there were too many meets before this competition, saying the athletes are a little bit beaten down and just overtired. Well, that first tumbling pass, putting the hands down, that's going to hurt a lot.
That's when it hurts your body and on the scoreboard.
Good routine. Good routine.
Do a little numerical housekeeping. Sylvia Straescu gets a 9.025 on the uneven bars. It was a little over 7/10 the separation between the United States and Romania coming into this rotation. Taryn Humphrey gets an 8.5. Her day is done. And we're in the same situation as we were last rotation. If the United States has to keep that 8.5 and Romania keeps scoring in the 9s, this could go down to the final routine.
One thing that this Romanian team does do on the uneven bars is they hit their routines. They may not be the most exciting or the most innovative routines, but they practice so many in a practice session that they rarely miss.
I'd like it once if one of the Romanians just stopped and said, "Would you guys be quiet?"
How can you not make it through your routine with that kind of support? She's doing exactly what she practiced. Hitting.
She is already a very, very good gymnast, and a couple years down the road, I'll tell you, she will be something else. We're going to see her again.
Again, what the judges are looking for are very difficult combinations. Here we can see she wasn't quite finished in the handstand position. That will come. That one was done much better into her release element. A lot of bonus points there.
And again, these little people are charged with making an entire nation feel good about itself each and every time out. Marie Fjordholm on the floor, the United States trying to hang on to its lead when we come back. We've come down to the final few routines in the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup. The United States is on the floor, so far an 8-9 and an 8-5. This is Marie Fjordholm, the last-minute fill-in for the injured Crystal Uzelac.
Marie did not waste any time after she arrived from the airport. She was in the gym, a quick hello to Marta Caroli, and she was off to the floor to perform her floor exercise routine. There was absolutely no signs of fatigue.
Very difficult opening.
This is her third of 4 tumbling passes.
She gets way up there. For someone who wasn't supposed to be here, great stuff from Marie Fjordholm.
And what she does so well, like you said, Al, very powerful athlete. A double layout by itself, difficult, but she does it from a whip back, makes it infinitely more tricky. Just a very, very powerful kid.
And Marie gets a 9.225. And again, a lot of people in the crowd think they've seen something awesome, and they don't quite get the low numbers.
Now in ball for China, Kong Sheng.
Kong Sheng, she's really been a darling to this crowd today. The 9.6 plus she got on the balance beam, one of the highlights of the day.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. This, however, a little bit more difficult of an event for her. But hey, she gets some pretty good height. Front with a pike and a half twist. It's only valued out of a 9.6.
And she is exactly as tall as the vaulting horse. Unbelievable. She actually is very, very good technically, has a good amount of power. It's amazing she can do this vault. Being so tiny, she steps off to the side right there. Outside of those lines, that'll be a deduction.
9.3 for Kong Sheng. Now the Romanians love to lose that 8-7-2-5.
Now on the even bars for Romania, Carmen Ionescu.
Carmen Ionescu has been above 9 all day, competing in 3 of the 4 apparatus.
She's actually very strong on this event. We should see a score up in the 9s. She was 7th at the Junior European Championships on this event. A lot of action going on that high bar.
Coach just in there for safety if she's a little too far away. If he does touch the athlete, a major deduction would ensue.
Well, is that going to put any heat on Carly Patterson or not?
Well, definitely a hit routine, and she is the strongest performer on the Romanian team, but there are some errors, and this routine not going to be starting at anywhere near a 10.0. You see the coach just in there in case she's a little too far away and can put a hand on her and slow her down, but no need there.
And even 9-0 for Carmen Ionescu. And meanwhile, the most consistent American today has been her, Carly Patterson, and she's up next on the floor. Well, we've come right down to it here in Honolulu. Carly Patterson of the United States with a chance to put this one away. .975 on the beam, the highest score we've seen.
And actually her first tumbling pass will remind you of the dismount that she did on the balance beam. It'll give you an idea of just how very difficult it really is.
Little Austin Powers thing. Elfie, it's another 70s thing. Carly Patterson being very shagadelic.
Good job, coach.
Well, Al, she has got it physically. She's got it mentally. She's the right age, the right size.
This would be the one last chance for the Romanians to challenge the United States. She needs a huge score, 9.525, Barak of Romania.
That's going to be very, very difficult to get because the top score that she can receive on this event is a 9.7, and that would mean she'd have to be absolutely perfect. And of course, that doesn't help.
Wow.
That doesn't.
You know, it looks like she just jumped off the bar, but the skill she was doing, Stalter with a blind turn, it's if your shoulders are on the wrong side of the bar at the end of the element, there's nothing you can do if you are off balance.
Hard to cover up a move like that.
So that'll do it, Team USA. has won this title once again. Long routine.
And so it's over. And the one last gasp that the Romanians had is done. And Carly Patterson sees the numbers and likes what she sees. For the second year in a row, the United States has won this event as she gets a 9.25. So she is taking all the right strides toward her dream. Barat gets an 8.45, and her face tells you all you need to know about what she's thinking about. So as we shake out the numbers, the United States does win by a very comfortable margin. China third, obviously, and a good fill-in job by Marie Fjordholm. Let's go to Beth.
Marie, you came in a big job to doing a big 24 hours.
Yes, well, I found out about it when I came home from gym on Thursday night around 8, and Kathy Kelly was like, want to go to Hawaii? And I was like, sure.
What did you say to yourself right before you had to go out in this pressure situation on the floor?
Just have fun. I love floor, I love vault, and those are the two events I came in to do, and I went out there and had fun, and I accomplished what I needed to do.
Okay, welcome to Hawaii, and congratulations on really stepping up for your team.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marie.
And speaking of stepping up, Carly Patterson, almost a full point better than Ashley Miles. She smiled every step of the way. Back to Beth.
Well, Carly, congratulations. Only second international meet of your whole life. How was it?
It was really fun. It was my first team competition, and it was really fun.
You had an amazing balance beam routine, an amazing dismount that no one else does in the world. What were you saying to yourself during all of it?
Well, I've been working really hard on beam and everything, actually, and I was just telling myself to focus and one skill at a time.
Then you had to go to the floor. Did you feel the pressure and know how close the points were and how important that routine was?
Yeah, I just tried my hardest to stay on.
Well, I want to say congratulations and thank you to the only gymnast who has ever called me ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, congratulations, Carly.
Thanks.
All right, ma'am, and certainly Carly Patterson, who's really neat, is a big reason why the United States has won the 2001 Pontiac American Team Cup. And these gymnasts really had a chance to sample all the aspects of Hawaii, its culture, its people, its history, and its present.
Hello. Woo! Pistols and uneven bars, huh? All right, let's go to your kaholo, side to side. Ready, kaholo, side to side.
With Beth Ruyak, Tim Daggett, and Elfie Schlegel, I'm Al Troutwig. Aloha from Honolulu.
Like you do on that gymnastics floor. And some finesse. All right, China.